देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां हयग्रीवम् उपास्महे श्रीरङ्गनाथषडगोपेतीन्द्रदृष्टं लक्ष्मीनृसिंहषड्जित्कर्णैकपात्रं श्रीरङ्गवीररघुराषडगोप्रत्यं वेदान्तदेशिकेतीन्द्रमहं प्रपद्ये श्रीमद्रङ्गशटारिसंयमविवरालब्धागमान्दद्वयं श्रीमद्वीररघुत्वहात्य षडजित्पादारविन्दाश्रयं श्रीमद्वेदवतं सदेशिकेते कारुण्यमित्रास्पदं सेवे रङ्गदीनशासनवशं नारायणं योगिनं वेदान्तदेशिकेतीन्द्रकटाक्षलब्धत्रय्यन्तसारमनवद्यगणमुदाग्र्यं नारायणाद्यतितुर्यकृपाभिषिक्तं श्रीरङ्गनाथेदिशेखरमार्षयामः श्रीमते श्रीमन्षडगोक्षी वेदान्तदेशिकेतीन्द्रमहादेशिकाय नमः श्रीमते श्रीलक्ष्मी नृसिंहदिव्यपादुका सेवक श्रीमन्षडगोपशी नारायणेतीन्द्रमहादेशिकाय नमः श्रीमते श्रीमन्षडगोपशी रङ्गनाथेतीन्द्रमहादेशिकाय नमः. Thank you all the kids for joining for yet another session of Sri Hayagreeva Stothram and its meanings. So I see about 10 students who have joined. Thank you very much. Let us have a 5-minute interactive session of the discussion around what we shared last week and also what we will be looking at for this session. So I see Samrit, Srinath, Goda, Saumi, Prakriti, and also a few more from the SAM SV classes connection. All right. So based on what you have already heard and what you already know, first, do you have any questions, specific questions around Sri Hayagreeva Stothram or in general about Sri Hayagreevan and what we saw last week? Last week we saw a little bit of comparison of how Sri Lakshmi Hayagreevan and Sri Lakshmi Nrsimhan. Do you all remember that? Prakriti, Saumi, Goda. Do any of you, were you in the class last week?
Again, Mama, last time I couldn't come.
Last time you couldn't join. Okay. So last time we saw the interesting similarities between Sri Lakshmi Nrsimhan and Lakshmi Hayagreevan. How both Perumal, when you look at them, both Perumal are together with Tayar, and how both Perumal have Tayar in his lap, and also the different postures, but very similar, even though not the same, and how both enjoy being in Dole. Dole is the swing, right? So how both Perumal, both Sri Lakshmi Nrsimhan and Sri Lakshmi Hayagreevan have a special liking for Dolotsavam and Dole. And also the hastam, how the hand position, one has the mudrai, jnana mudrai, and then the other one has the abhaya hastam. We saw all those details of how from a distance it will look very similar. The murtis of Sri Lakshmi Nrsimhan and Sri Lakshmi Hayagreevan will look very similar. And then we also saw the meanings of about slokams, 5 slokams from 5 to 10. Today, Adiyan wants to continue with the 11th slokam. So before that, I just wanted to check with you if any of you have any specific question that you want to be answered, and maybe during the class I can address that. Goda, Saumi, Raghav, Srinath, any of you have any question about Sri Lakshmi Hayagreevan or something in the Stothram that you want to understand or focus a little bit better? Okay, if you remember something, then feel free to ask. This can be a interactive session since we don't have too many students so we can take advantage of that. Otherwise, I will go ahead and start with the 11th shloka. Okay, so let me go ahead and do that. If you come up with any question, feel free, raise your hand, and then I will stop to see if I can answer the question. Okay, let me now switch my view to the shlokam, and then you will be able to read. Are you able to see the screen now? Are you able to see the?
Yes.
Okay, let me move to slide view so that it is. Okay, so one of you can start with reading the shlokam, if you could. This is shlokam number 11. Yanmoolamidrik pratibadi tattvam. Who would like to read this?
Can I?
Yeah, go ahead. Feel free.
Yanmoolamidrik pratibhati tattvam Yamoolamamnaya mahadrumanam Tatvena jananti vishuddha sattva Tvamaksharam aksharam matrikam tam.
Very good. So in this shlokam, Swami Desikan brings out an interesting connection between the Veda Swarupa or the one syllable mantram, Ekakshara mantram, the pranavam. This pranavam is what is the first mantram we always say before any Vedic shlokam, or even within the Vedas, and even while doing Perumal Archanai, and it is called Pranavam, the Shabdam Om. So here Swami Desikan is making a very interesting and a very nice connection about a deep philosophy in our Sri Vaishnava Sri Sampradayam, where it is Perumal who had created the entire universe. So whatever you find in this universe, it is all created by Perumal, either directly or indirectly. So what do we mean by direct or indirect? Direct is Perumal created the building blocks, the things that you would need in order to create the universe. This universe is made of so many things: people, humans, animals, trees, devas, right? So many different forms of lives and non-living things exist in this universe, and all that is created out of something. If you look at science, it says everything is made of carbon atoms. That's what you will read in science as you go to higher classes. So everything can be reduced to some, at some level, fundamentally to carbon atoms. But in terms of sampradayam, it is a different way of saying it. Everything is made of certain building blocks that is composed of Agni, Vayu, Akasham, Jalam, Bhumi, all those things. It's nothing but a bunch of 5 elements, right? Earth, fire, air, water, land. So these things are in existence in every form of life, whether even non-life, whether something is living or non-living, all things in some way have a combination of these 5 elements. But who created these 5 elements originally? It is none other than Perumal. How did he do that? He created the building blocks that make up those elements, whether it is Agni or Akasham or Vayu, Jalam or Bhumi, Earth. He had created the building blocks that eventually become all those things. And in the same way, here Swami Desikan brilliantly brings out the connection between everything in Vedam And then this one element, the one important aksharam, the pranava aksharam, om or pranavam. And then from that one aksharam, everything else in Vedam is formed. Just as in how from Perumal's original building blocks, the five elements and the sense organs, and then all the living, non-living things and other things are getting created. In the same way, from the Pranava Aksharam, everything else in Vedam get created. All the other letters are all created from this one Aksharam. That is the Tattva. So what Swami Deshkin here says, he goes further beyond that. Yenmoolamidrik pradipadi tattvam yamulam amnaya mahadrumanam tattvena jananti vishuddha sattva. Here in the third line, he says, the ones who have the correct knowledge, the correct jnanam about all the creation becoming one with Perumal and starting from Perumal, and Perumal being the indweller or the real reason, the karanam for the entire universe. The person who understands that and the one who follows the shastrams laid down, being righteous, being good person, basically, right? That person will understand the pranavam swarupam, pranavam meaning om. And therefore, that person will also be able to understand that because everything originated from Perumal, and that person is able to understand that, one will be very humble and be able to appreciate everything in life. Not just a few things, but the entire purpose behind life, and who but Perumal is the karanam, the tattvam behind all that exists in this universe. So the one who understands you being Perumal is where everything starts and begins and ends. That person has ultimately understood the entire vidya. It is supposedly there are 32 vidyas, or in some cases they say 64 vidyas. So meaning different kinds of education or different subjects of education. So the one who has understood this shlokam, and because of that, if you understand also that Perumal is the indweller, he is compared here as the Pranava Akaram or Eka Aksharam. Then from that Aksharam only everything in Vedas formed. And similarly, from only Perumal everything else formed. That person is able to understand that concept, and therefore he has learned everything. That is the simple meaning of this Stothram. There are other deeper meanings. We won't dive into that, but we will stop with that and move on to the next shloka. Okay. Any questions on that shlokam? Number 11. The meaning I just mentioned. Do you have any questions? Okay. I take it that you understand that. All right. I will continue with the next one. Who wants to read Avyakritat Vyakrita Vanasitvam Stothram?
Adiyan Mama, can I read?
Yes, please go ahead.
Avyakritat Vyakritavaanasitvam Namani Rupani Chayani Purvam Samshanti Tesham Charamam Pratishtam Vagishwaratvam Twadupagnyavachaha.
Very good. So in this stotram, Avyakritat Vyakritavaanasitvam, Swami Desikan brings out the next level of explanation, where in the previous slokam, he brought out the concept, the tattvam, that everything starts from Perumal, created from Perumal. Now he expands that concept of creation little bit more here. He says this world, when it was existing before being in this specific shape. For example, Earth has a shape. The other planets, they all have different shape. Most of the planets you see, they all are round. But there are also other cosmic bodies, what we call that, the different things that exist in space, like meteors or comets and stars and so on. They could also exist in some odd shape. For example, one of the moons of Saturn, I think, is in the form of a potato. It's like you see a potato, it's shaped like that. So they can also exist in other shape. So here what Swami Desikan brings an interesting comparison is, or definition is, before this entire universe is created, everything existed in only the thought of Perumal's mind, right? And therefore, we cannot understand what shape or name it had. There was only in the thought of Perumal's Sankalpam. And this whole universe came into existence after Perumal created the building blocks. And then from that, he created the Panchabhutams like Agni, Vayu, Akasham, uh, Tirtham, and also the earth, Prithvi or Bhumi. So from there, again, he also created additional forms and our sense organs, the humans, animals, and so on and so forth. So all that was done by the knowledge Perumal imparted to Brahma, and Brahma created all those forms and the worlds. So even though it was created like that, ultimately for everything to function, it required something to control them, and that something is Perumal in the form of Antaryami. So Perumal is the indweller. He dwells inside everything in this universe, whether we can see or not see, even things that we cannot see. For example, there are electromagnetic waves, right? When you speak on a cell phone, the voice travels over electromagnetic waves. We can't see that. Electricity, we can't see electricity, but we know, we understand. Even those things, they have the unseen things that we visually we cannot see. Even those have certain qualities or characteristics. Something controls them, something makes them possible, and that something is the Antaryami, Perumal, the indweller, who is able to control that. And that's how all this entire universe runs, from a smallest thing, atom, to the largest thing that you could imagine, the size of the universe. Everything has uh, the indweller, Perumal. So it is he who controls everything. And here Swami Desikan says, not only do you control everything, you are also the ultimate end or goal for everything, ultimate destination for everything. Everything starts from him, and at the end, after pralayam, everything dissolves in Perumal. It is the Vageshwara. So what he says is, the Vedas that originated from him, we say Vedas are nothing but the Muchikatru, or the breath of Perumal. So all that starts from him, ends with him, and essentially is nothing but Perumal's Anugraham. So Swami Desikan says, um, those who are blessed by you with this power of Vak, meaning the power of knowledge, uh, they recognize you, Hayagreeva, as the Vyakrutvam, or the creator of everything. Vyakrutavan, the line you see that, right? Avyakritat Vyakrutavanasitvam, Namani Rupani Cha Yani Purvam. Name and the shape. He gives the name and shape to everything. It is he, the Perumal, who makes everything possible. And the one who understands that understands also you are Charamam Pratishta, meaning you are the source and also the ultimate destination, the end point. After everything is done, we all go back to only Perumal. That's what the line says. Samshanti Desham Charamam Pratishtam Vageshwaratvam Tadupaknya Vachaha. So Vageshwaran here is the another name for Sri Hayagreeva. So everything begins and ends with Perumal, especially the form of Sri Hayagreevan is what this slokam talks about. Okay, any questions on that? Okay, we'll move on to next slokam number 13. Who wants to take up number 13? Mugdhendu Nishyanta. Raghavan, do you want to take this one? Or Goda, if you have not already?
Can I say it?
Yeah.
Muktantu nishyanta vilopaniyam murtim tavananda sudha prasutim Sudha prasutim vipashchitassetasi pavayante vela mudarami vadukta sindhoho.
Very good. So here, this is the 13th slokam, and Swami Desikan is bringing out a special focus on those who are very knowledgeable in Vedam, or the recitation or the meanings of the Vedams, Veda mantras. They are meditating on the beautiful Tirumeni or the Murti of Perumal. That is what is brought out in this Stothram. Here he says, Hayagreeva, your Suddha Spatika Rupam, or the beautiful blemishless form that you have in the form of a horse face, right? Hayagreevan is horse-faced or horse-necked shape. He also, in the form of beautiful white moon, the cool rays of a moon, he removes all the tapams or the difficulties due to the samsara, the lives. It is your murti, your beautiful, cool, comfortable and cool rays that would come out of moon. Similar to that, your very soft murti clears away or removes away all the difficulties that affect our lives. This brings great joy to all of us, and then gives us an opportunity to meditate on you, because to meditate on something, to focus on something, you need that to be in a very beautiful form, or in a form that it can very attractive to us, so that we can focus on. So he says your Tirumeni, Hayagreeva's Tirumeni Murti is such that the Murtim Tava Ananda Shuddha Prasutim. So it gives joy to whoever who wants to meditate on them. Vipachita Chedasi. Here he says that beautiful face or the Murti of Perumal gives a fantastic focus for us, and allows us to meditate on the spotless or blemishless Murti of Perumal, and in turn that helps us to cross the difficulties of our lives. And this is usually not only done by jnanis, jnanis meaning the most knowledgeable ones, or the sannyasis who wants to spend quite a bit of time on meditation. Even normal people like us, if ever we want to do a japam, just like we do Gayatri japam, boys can do that. Girls, on the other hand, they can also do japam. They can imagine the Divya Rupam or Mangalam of a Perumal, and then you can do japam on that Perumal or the Murti. That gives you a very nice feeling. After meditation, you will be clear of all the doubts in your mind, and also it brings a lot of benefits to you to focus not only on your day-to-day life, but also everything that you want to achieve, whether it is in studies or some other purpose or passion you have that you want to follow, whether it is in sports or science or dance, drama, music, whatever you want to achieve. Meditation really helps you. But in order to meditate, you need to have the ability to focus on something. And here, Swami Desikan brings out the blemishless or the beautiful, spotless, matchless beauty of Hayagreevan as a way for us to meditate on the Divya Mangala Vigraham and then attain or gain the benefits that arises from the meditation. That's essentially what this shlokam talks about. So the next one is also a continuation of the meditation concept. So Manogatam Pasyati. Who wants to take this one?
Can I?
Yeah.
Manogatam pashyati yassada tvam manishina manasa rajahamsam swayam puro bhava vivada bhajaha kim kurvate tasya giro yatarham.
Right. So very good. In this one, just like in the previous slokam, where he talks about how we can meditate on the spotless or matchless beauty of Sri Hayagreevan, Lakshmi Hayagreevan. Here he expands on, from this he expands on what would be the mindset of those who are able to do such kind of meditation. So when you meditate on Sri Lakshmi Hayagreevan, what kind of mindset you will have? How would that help you? So here what he says, he talks about Manogatam Pashyati Yes Sadatvam Manishina Manasa Rajahamsam. So it said that the Hamsam is a swan. Here he talks about Rajahamsam, the one of the varieties or the kings of the swans. They live in the Manasa Rover. Manasa Rajahamsam means where they live. There is a lake called Manasa Rover. In that lake, these kingly swans enjoy, or they spend the time. So here he compares those Rajahamsams to the sannyasis. Sannyasis and yatis, like our acharyans, they are the Rajahamsam. They stride like king swans in the lake. And similar to that, they, in their heart, Perumal rules them. So the acharyas are always constantly thinking about the beauty and also the blessings and also about Perumal. So in their minds, Perumal pretty much rules their mind and the heart of all these yogis. By constantly focusing on Perumal, they are able to achieve a calm feeling, and this is also greatly helped by the blessing given by Perumal, and he provides them with all the um, uh, benefits of achieving what one would have if you had studied or learnt everything there is to learn, all the vidyas, Brahma vidyas and other vidyas, right? Imagine if somebody could learn everything. The equivalent, even though that might be not be possible literally, but the equivalent of that is by constantly meditating or thinking about Perumal. Perumal gives that blessing, and it gives you the feeling of how you, if you had learnt every vidya, and you will feel such calmness, inner calmness, and the ability to kind of know, understand a lot of things purely by the grace of Perumal, even though one need not have learnt every single vidya. So Perumal's grace, Anugraham, helps these great sannyasis or acharyans to know a lot more than if they would have to read and gain a knowledge of every shastra. Now, they do know lot of Shastras and Vidyas. It's not that our Acharyas do not know, they do know. But beyond that, because they are able to focus single-mindedly on Perumal and Perumal's form, they have even more special knowledge. And that gives them a lot of peace in their hearts and minds. And that in turn results in more blessings from Perumal. So that is brought out in this shloka. He says that those yogis or the acharyas who are like the Raja Hamsam, the king swans, they have this knowledge about Hayagreevan sitting in their heart, as if is in the sitting in their heart lotus and commanding everything that they say or do. So inside the hearts of our acharyas, Perumal is like sitting in the lotus and commanding them to do the right things. And that's how they are in turn able to bless us. So he brings out some both a metaphor and also the simile here in this shloka. Okay, we will move on to number 15, shlokam number 15. Apikshanartha. Who wants to take this one? Are you all able to see this shloka? If you had already read the shlokam, fine. You can also go for the another round. Doesn't matter. You can read it.
Can I say?
Yes.
Apikshanartam kalayanti ye tvam आप्लावयन्तं विशदैर्मयूखैः वाचां प्रवाहैरनिवारितैस्ते मन्दाकिनीं मन्दयितुं क्षमन्ते.
Very nice. So here in the previous slokams, he talks about meditation, right? So meditation takes some time. You have to go in a quiet place and then you have to sit and then start meditation. And sometimes it will not be possible to immediately focus. It takes about 10-15 minutes maybe, or even longer for some people. In my case, it takes almost half an hour for me to begin to focus on something. And it takes time and effort, and you have to have the patience to pursue that or continue that. If you are not patient, you won't be able to do the meditation, but it takes time. Now what about people like me in this case who are not that patient? What happens to us? We can't spend that much time, hours and hours, like great acharyas, to sit and pray and meditate on the beautiful Swarupam of Murti of Hayagreeva. Even though we know we would like to do it, we also know it would be very nice. It will give us a great feeling. Sometimes we are unable to do it. What happens to people like that, or in that situation for us? Because even if we are able to do japam one day, the next day we might feel, oh, I don't want to spend that much time today. Maybe I'm not in the mood. Here, Swami Desikan says, even if one thinks about Perumal for a fraction of a chanam, so apikchanardam kalayanti etvam. So even for one fraction of 1/4 or less than 1/4 of a chanam, or actually he talks about a chanam is just about 4/5 of a second. So if you divide a second into 5 subunits, right, and then you take only 4 of them, 4/5 of a second is called a chanam. Here it talks about apikchanartham. That means even less than half a second, much less actually. So even if one spends that much of a small time to thinking about the beautiful Sri Lakshmi Hayagreevan, Swami Desikan says one will get all the benefits So it is not necessary you have to spend hours and hours every day to meditate. Here, Swami Desikan gives us, for people like us who are always on the run or catching up, he gives a beautiful reason. He says, you don't have to spend that much amount of time. All it takes is think about Perumal even for one chanam, less than that, apik chanam. If you do that, if you focus even for that small time on Sri Lakshmi Hayagreevan, he will ensure you get more or less the same happiness and feeling and also the blessings as if you have spent a lot of time. Now, you can ask, then why do you have to sit and do meditation for an hour or so? The question is, if you can get so much benefit or good feeling just spending half a second, you would also get more benefit if you spend more time. That is the other side of it. But when you're in a rush and you don't have that time, here he is giving an option for some of the Bhagavatas and says just half a second also or less is enough. When you think about Perumal, at that moment, at that fraction of a second, you will feel very happy, very calm, very nice, and very blessed as well in the process. So he says, Apikshanartam kalayandi etvam aplavayantam vishadair mahyukai vacham pravahai anivaritaiste mandakinim mandaitum chamante. So those are that's like getting drenched with the beautiful Akasha Gangai. From the Akasha Gangai, you get beautiful showers. So when Akasha Ganga pours from the Himalayas, for instance, or Akasham, it will drench everybody with the beautiful or best water, purest water. In the same way, by just thinking about Sri Lakshmi Hayagreevan or Hayagreevan, just for a fraction of a second, one can feel the beautiful Anubhavam and get all the blessings one can imagine. And so Sri Hayagreevan will ensure that we get all his anugrahams, even if we think for apikshanartham. So basically what this means is, nobody can say, I don't have much time for learning about Perumal or thinking about Perumal or doing anything. So just this one shlokam gives you that answer. Apikshanartham, if you think, that itself kalayanti etvam, that tells you, that gives you all the benefits that you can ever dream of. So slowly you can increase the time if you want to, but there is no reason not to spend time thinking about Perumal. That's what the point is. So even one chanam, but in a pure heart, in one chanam, you think about Lakshmi Hayagreevan every day. That itself is a great way to spend your time, and you will get all the benefit. Okay. Any questions on this? Okay, let's move on to slokam number 16. I think we have another 15 minutes maybe, so we'll try to cover 2-3 slokams if possible. I want to see if we can cover up to 20 slokams today. So Swamin Bhavadhyana Sudhabhisheka. Who wants to take this one?
Can I read?
Yeah.
स्वामिन् भवद्ध्यानसुधाभिषेकात् वहन्ति धन्याः पुलकानुबन्धम् अलक्षिते क्वापि निरूढमूलम् अङ्गेष्विवानन्दतुमङ्कुरन्तम्.
Right. So here he gives the experience of the people who are able to meditate on Lakshmi Hayagreeva. He says, oh Hayagreeva, a few blessed ones, Punyashalis or blessed ones, are able to meditate on you longer, not the apikshanam. They are able to enjoy your swarupam, and then are able to focus and meditate more without wasting any time. They are able to spend a lot of time meditating on you. When they do that kind of dhyanam, it is like being drenched or immersed in so much goodness that you feel like a flood of nectar. That's what Swami Desikan says. So if you are able to do that, that is absolutely great. But in that anubhavam, when we get very excited about something, or when we think about something that gives us great happiness, the hairs on our hands, you can see, they just stand up. It's called goosebumps, right? You feel goosebumps sometimes when you're so excited about something. You get goosebumps. Here he brings out that experience. Vahanti danya pulakanu bandam alakshite kwapi nirud moolam angeshvivan andatum ankurantam. Here he says that gives you that feeling, thinking about you in our hridayams, even for a second, gives us goosebumps. If you are able to spend more time, it gives you even more great blissful experience. So it is similar to like the hair standing on the end. When we are excited about something, it gives the same feeling when we are thinking about Perumal's as well. The happiness it brings in our heart, and also the tears that flow from our eyes, tears of joy, uh, are great examples of those who are able to feel Perumal, or in a way experience the anugrahams and the anubhavams of Perumal. So this is similar to also the anubhavams of Alvars. Alvars had sung so much in the Divya Prabandhams, right? Their outpourings, or all the beautiful verses this Alvars have sung, and also how Swami Desikan has sung so many Divya Prabandhams, Desika Prabandham, based out of Alvars Divya Prabandham and other Stothrams. The reading those with lot of love and devotion, and the meaning gives us that same experience as if our hearts stand on end when we are excited about things. And this great anubhavam of having Perumal in our hearts, whether it is apikshanartham or longer, whether it is in hours or chanams, small seconds, it is the same experience. And Perumal, just like how the hairs stand on our hands, for example, in the root, it gives you the nice feeling, the happiness, bliss. It gives Perumal, when he enters our heart, it gives even greater happiness and blissful experience for us. That is why whenever somebody asks, for instance, uh, you can't see Perumal. Perumal is not in front of our eyes, some might say, right? Because they are expecting Perumal to be like a physical form, like other human beings. But for some of us, or most of us who understand our Sampradayam, for us, the Perumal in front of us in the form of Archa Murti, the divine Vigrahams of Perumal, that itself is as good, or even better in some cases, if you have Perumal right in front of us. That is Perumal right in front of us. We don't make any distinction. If somebody says, you are praying to Perumal, where is Perumal? That very Murti in front of us, that is Perumal. That is good enough for us. We don't have to have somebody like in front of us like a human being. But that experience one may not get just like that. One has to truly experience by some level of meditation, whether it is for one chanam or longer. One has to, with whole heart, do that, experience that. When you experience that, you will get into that state that will help you realize that and feel the divine experience, anubhav. So I am sure all of you in some ways, on some days, might have felt it when you say prayer or sing a song, Perumal Pati Padinalo, Ilana Perumal Shlogam Sevichalo. Some days you will feel so great, overjoyed, enjoy, right? So the more you do it, the more you will develop that interest and the anubhavam, the divine feeling and anubhavam, just as if Arvars and other acharyas, Swami Desikan including, they all experience the same thing. So we can also similarly experience all that anubhavam by singing or reciting the wonderful shlokams and prabandhams of all these great acharyas, and that will bring us the same feeling about Perumal in our hearts. Okay, we will move on to shlokam number 17. Can one of you read this one?
Hariyen, can I?
Yes.
Swamin pratica hridayena danyaha Twadda chandrodaya vartamanam Amantamananda payodhimandaha Payobhirakshnam parivahayanti.
Okay. Here he pretty much explains that feeling when one is able to focus on Perumal. He says, like just in the previous shlokam, some bhagyashali, some people are able to focus all their attention on you instead of other things. Just as how he gives an example, Swamin Pradicha Hridayena Dhanyaha Tadhyana Chandrodaya Vardhamanam Amanta Mananta Payodimantaha. Here, what he gives as some examples here. Just as like a tortoise, turtle or tortoise, it pulls its head inwards whenever it sees some danger or it feels it needs to take rest, it will pull its neck inside its shell. In the same way, many people who are able to focus, they are able to shut out all the other things that distract them, and they are able to just go into a room, for instance, and then just focus on Perumal or some kind of dhyana meditation. He says, Swami Desikan says, they are very fortunate. They are able to do that. And then during that time, when they are able to do that kind of focus on that, it brings so much joy in their hearts and minds, that it is like when the oceans rise upon seeing the full Chandrodaya. Twadhyana Chandrodaya Vardhamana. Here, when the full moon comes up, what happens? The oceans rise because the moon has a gravitational pull on the ocean waves. So the oceans or any water body, even a lake, will have a bigger tide during full moon. So they rise up, and just in the same way, somebody who is able to focus on Perumal is able to experience the immense joy, the anandam of being able to get the divine blessings of Perumal. And it doesn't stop in just in their hearts. He says it kind of spills over, just as if a dam, water spills over a full dam. So you all know about the dam where it is blocking the water, right? So that it can be, the dam helps to water the fields by saving the water, and then helping the water to be diverted to the fields and crops. But when the dam overflows, and it is full, it just kind of overflows. It won't be able to be controlled. In the same way, Swami Desikan says, for those who are able to meditate on Sri Hayagreeva, the happiness inside those people's hearts won't just stay inside the heart. It will overflow in the form of, just as if the dam overflows with the water. From their eyes, you will see the water coming down, the tears of joy coming down. So when you are very happy, when you are very happy and enjoying, you talk about a joke or you laugh too much, you would have experienced tears rolling down your eyes, right? In the same way, that is called the happy tears, happy cry. In the same way, when you experience a Hayagreeva, in a divine way inside your hearts and mind, your eyes will overflow with tears of joy due to that experience. And that is one of the best experience. That is the same experience that Alvars and Acharyas have every single time, had and have every single time when they come into the state of this meditation or being able to experience Perumal. So we all can have the same effect, or the joy of that uncontrollable flood of tears of joy from our eyes when we focus and worship, or when we focus on Sri Lakshmi Hayagreeva. That's what this slokam says. All right, we'll move on to number 18. Okay, this is another slokam where he talks about the effect of such meditation. So who wants to take this one? Raghav, do you want to take this one?
எனக்கு தெரியாத ஹயக்ரீவ ஸ்தோத்திரம்.
ஓ, தெரியாதா? சரி, வேற யாராவது சொல்றீங்களா? இல்ல நான் சொல்றேமா? சரி, நானே சொல்றேன், மத்தவ யாரும் சொல்லனா. Here in this is the 18th slokam. Svairhanubhava stadadhina bhava samruddha viryastad anugrahena vipaschito nata taranti mayam vaihariki mohana pinchikam te. In this slokam also he describes that those who are able to meditate on you, they become great, because by focusing on your glory, your being, Perumal's glory, they are able to become very strong, committed. They have developed vairagyam. Svairhanubhava stadadina bhava, meaning everything is in the control of adinam, of Perumal. So the one who realizes that and then is able to meditate, they get the samruddha viryas tad anugrahena. So they become very strong in their mind due to your anugraham. Vipaschito nata taranti mayam. And because of that anugraham from you, they have that divine strength, the viryam, due to your anugraham. Vipaschito nata taranti mayam. They are able to cross over the maya. Maya means the things that we see and misunderstand due to our lack of knowledge, right? We call that as maya. Maya meaning something that due to our own ignorance or lack of knowledge, we mistake certain things. For example, let's say there is a rope on the ground and there is no light. One of the thoughts immediately we would have is it looks like a snake, because right from our beginning, long time back, it is ingrained in our minds to be very careful about certain things. So when we see a rope in the darkness lying on the ground, we immediately don't think it might be a rope. Instead, we become very alert. We think it might be a snake. So we are to be careful. That helps to protect us. But it is not really a snake. It might be just a rope. When you switch on the light and see, then we'll realize, oh, that's not a snake, that's just a rope. Why does that happen? That's because our own ignorance, right? It is the maya, that's called a maya. In that case, that is due to our ignorance. It is not the true state. In similar fashion, a lot of things in our lives, when we cannot see or understand or know properly what it is, due to our own ignorance, we might be afraid of them. We get afraid of things that we don't know much about. in those circumstances, due to our fear, we do certain incorrect things or wrong things because of the fear and get into more trouble because of it. But if we have the right knowledge, and that knowledge coming from the divine anugraham of Perumal, that helps us to handle all the things, whether it is Maya, our own misunderstanding, or difficult, truly difficult things. The anugraham of Perumal allows us to overcome any difficult situation, whether it is due to our own ignorance of Maya or through really some difficult situation because we are put into that kind of situation for whatever reason. So in either case, Swami Desikan here says, by able to meditate on you, on your divine form, all of us are being blessed with your anugraham, and your anugraham, svairhanubhavam, makes us very strong. We become vairagyam. We become vairagyashali, and due to that, we are able to overcome the maya, the difficulty due to ignorance, and this creates a very good outcome for us, not only for this life, but also for us to come to you, you being Perumal. So to reach Perumal, it helps because his anugraham is needed anyways, for us to be both successful in this life and also to ultimately reach Perumal. So he kind of, Swami Desikan says, meditating on the divine form of Hayagreevan helps one to overcome lot of the difficulties by Hayagreevan's anugraham. That is the 18th slokam. And let's move on to 19, slokam number 19. Do you want me to read, or is anyone ready to take this one? I think we are coming very close to 6 o'clock, right? It's already 6 past 6. Maybe we'll stop with this one. Is anyone ready to read this?
Ariyan, can I?
Okay.
प्राणिर्मितानां तपसां विपाकाः प्रत्यग्रनिःश्रेयससम्पदो मे समेधि क्षीरं तव पादपद्मे सङ्कल्पचिन्तामणयप्रणामाः.
Okay, thank you. Very nice. So this is another beautiful slokam where Swami Desikan brings out some interesting, deeper meanings. He says it is not very easy task to be blessed with the anugraham of Kainkari. So for anybody able to do Kainkaryam, one can say very well that it's not a something that one will get very easily. It is due to Perumal's grace only one can have the bhagyam or the benefit of being able to do Kainkaryam to Perumal. And that comes usually with some level of effort at some life, whether it is this life or previous life, whether it is due to our own effort or due to the efforts of our parents or our ancestors. One must have done some kind of punyam, some good deeds, in order to be blessed with that grace of Perumal to do Perumal Kainkaryam. So it doesn't come very easily. Therefore, Swami Desikan says one should be very, very, very glad that one is able to be in a position or situation to do Perumal Kainkaryam. And whenever you get an opportunity, one should not turn away or drop it. One should definitely seize that opportunity because it won't come very easily. Perumal Kainkaryam comes only with Perumal's anugraham. Therefore, when you take that opportunity and do Perumal Kainkaryam, it results in more Kainkaryams for one, and two, it also helps one to reach him at the end of this life, reach Perumal, and then give all the divine anubhavams. So if you are even in one chanam, when we saw earlier that even if we focus on Hayagreevan for one chanam, that gives us great anandam or bliss or joy. But imagine if you can spend all your time right next to Perumal, that will be the absolute joy, right? Bliss. But to get that, one has to perform the kainkariams whenever one gets an opportunity, and that in turn will give us all the blessings from Perumal to do more and more. So here he says that please give me that kind of blessing for uninterrupted thought or meditation on you, and also therefore through your sankalpam. Here he says sankalpa chintamanaya pranama. Chintamani is the divine gem that is considered as one of the rarest of the rare gems, that is priceless. So here he says your kainkanyam to you is like one has that chintamani ratnam. So it is even beyond that, but he just gives one example. And please give me the blessings to do more kainkariam, uninterrupted service or kainkariam to you, and therefore get all the divine anubhavams from that experience. So Swami Desikan prays to Perumal, Hayagreevan, to grant him or bless him with that anubhavam and also the anugraham. Here one has to understand that whenever Swami Desikan is asking for this benefit or that benefit, it is not just for him. He is asking or praying to Perumal on all our behalf. So it is essentially is giving an opportunity for all of us also, because by putting it in the shlokam form, now we are also able to recite this and also have the opportunity to pray to Sri Lakshmi Hayagreevan and greatest blessings. So with that we will stop, and if you have any questions quickly we can go over. Otherwise, we can regroup again in our next class to finish the remaining shlokas. Does anyone have any questions or want to ask any questions about anything with respect to Hayagreeva Stothram? You can feel free. Okay, with that we'll stop. I think it's about 6:05, but Adian wants to have one interaction with you, if you could, maybe for 2 minutes. Each of you, can you tell me who is your favorite Perumal or favorite form of Perumal? Samrit Srinath, which form, which avataram or which form is your favorite?
Lakshmi Narasimhan.
Lakshmi Narasimhan, very good. Okay. And Goda?
Krishna.
Krishna, okay. Saumi? Or Prakriti?
Again, Ranganatha Perumal or Kannan.
Ranganatha or Kannan, okay. So we have one Lakshmi Narasimhan, one Krishna, one Ranganatha or Krishna, and Raghav. What about you?
தெரியல சுவாமி, எல்லாமே பெருமாள் தான். அதனால என்ன ரொம்ப பிடிக்கும்னு தெரியல.
அப்படியா, சரி, அது ஒரு அனுபவம். Okay. So the reason why I was asking was it is very rare one says Lakshmi Hayagreeva unless you happen to know the shlokam and also kind of read the meanings. When I was growing up, I did not even know much about Lakshmi Hayagreeva, but once I learnt about this shlokam and also the meanings, I got so much interested that my favorite Perumal, my favorite Murti is Sri Lakshmi Hayagreeva, actually. And you can say between Lakshmi Hayagreeva and Lakshmi Narasimhan, you can say it's a toss up, but definitely Lakshmi Hayagreeva, since the day I learned this slokam and also the meanings, I got attracted to Sri Lakshmi Hayagreeva very much. So I like this Perumal much. That is one of the reasons also I wanted to share this slokam with all of you. So that's why I was asking that question. So, but I'm sure by the time we finish all the slokams, I think many of you will start saying your favorite would be Sri Lakshmi Hayagreeva. I'm pretty sure at least a few, if not all of you. Okay, anyways, it will allow you to enjoy this Perumal and Murti more as you learn the meanings of each shlokam. And that's one greatest benefit of learning the meaning. It will allow you to experience that Perumal a little bit more, because now you know the meanings and the shlokam. You can enjoy it even more. Adiyan, thank you for the opportunity. Awesome. We can conclude with the Acharya Taniyam. श्रीरंगनाथ शतकोपेतीन्द्र दृष्टुम लक्ष्मी नृसिंह षडजित करुणैकपात्रम श्रीरंगवीरराट्सगोपरित्यं वेदान्तदेशीयतीन्द्रमहं प्रपद्ये श्रीमद्रङ्गशटारि संयमोरागमान्तद्वयं श्रीमद्वीररघुत्वहात्य षडजित पादारविन्दाश्रयं श्रीमद्वेदवतंसदेशिकेदे कारुण्यवीक्षास्पदं सेवे रङ्गधुरीन शासनोषं नारायणं योगिनं वेदान्तदेशिकेतीन्द्रकटाक्षलब्धत्रय्यन्तसारमणवद्दिनं दाग्रे नारायणाद्येति तुर्यकृपाभिषक्तं श्रीरङ्गनाथेति शेखरम् आश्रयामः। श्रीमते श्रीवंशरगोप श्रीवेदान्तदेशिकेतीन्द्रमहादेशिकाय नमः। श्रीमते श्रीलक्ष्मीनृसिंहदिव्यपादुकासेवक श्रीवंशरगोप श्रीनारायणेतीन्द्रमहादेशिकाय नमः। श्रीमते श्रीवंशरगोप श्रीरङ्गनाथेतीन्द्रमहादेशिकाय नमः। हरिः दास।